Welcome to Pushing Forward with Alycia, a podcast that gives disability a voice. Each week, we will explore topics like confidence, ambition, resilience, and finding success against all odds. We are creating a collective community that believes that all things are possible for all people. Open hearts, clear paths, let's go. Welcome back to Pushing Forward with Alycia. I'm Alycia Anderson. Y'all.
Hi, I'm Jayne. It's nice. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Jayne. Welcome to the show. Let me give a quick little introduction to who you are. We've got an amazing author, disability, body image, and eating disorder advocate. She's a digital creator. She has a ton of followers on Instagram. She's got a book coming out titled This is Body Grief. Coming out in 2025. She is the co-founder of Disabled Voters for Harris. Love that. And she's working on an adaptive gene project. So lots going on.
Yes, a lot going on.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know what? I forgot one thing too. She is the most beautiful artist. She paints these acrylic paintings. I think they're acrylic. They remind me of my brother's paintings. Acrylic. And they're gorgeous. So you are a multifaceted, amazing, beautiful woman. Welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you like pink, you might like my paintings.
Okay, there's so much to talk about. I actually don't even know where to start. So I think we should start with, can you share a little bit about your journey, your relationship with disability? Maybe we can start there.
So I started this journey as a disability advocate because my body had me do that. I have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I talk about being resigned from hustle culture. That is something that I really left in the past. And I worked with eating disorders and body image. And that's something that really spoke to me because I had an eating disorder starting at the age of 9. And it was normalized because I looked quote unquote normal and it was very misunderstood. And so I really got involved in body image advocacy and eating disorder advocacy. And then I noticed people with eating disorders really talked about grief a lot, like missing the body that they used to have, but also missing the life they used to have while they're in their eating disorder and then in recovery. And so I started to come up with this language of this is body grief. And then 6 years ago, I found myself completely sick. My sight went. I was at a bar class, like a Pilates bar class, and I was sent to the ER, and many ER visits later of lots of dismissal and gaslighting, medical gaslighting, they diagnosed me with a rare neurological disease, intracranial hypertension. And I received my first 2 brain surgeries after that, and things snowballed into effect. I was diagnosed with my genetic illness, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which, really shows up when we're younger, and it really makes sense now. We're like, oh, that's why, my elbows and knees were popping out of place, and this is why that happens. But my original neurological disorder definitely pushed that out. So a lot of people can be diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome after they get pregnant or something stressful in their life happens, kind of pushes out that mutation and they really start experiencing things. So in the past 6 years, I've had 19 brain and spine surgeries, a total hysterectomy, and I'm now a wheelchair user and I have a service dog. My life has completely changed. I went from hustle, I can do it all, white woman in her 20s, thinking she knew everything, to, oh my gosh, no, I don't. And this is body grief. And when I started talking to more and more people in the chronic illness space, in the aging space, and menopause and all of the things, everyone was like, body grief. Okay. And since then, I've written a book and we're doing the damn thing.
I love it. Doing the damn thing. Okay, so you said the term many times. You've coined this term, body grief. I want to hear from you what this term means.
Simply accepting the loss of living in a body. So body grief is universal. And I want everyone to hear that. Disabled, non-disabled, no matter your age, identity, body grief is universal. And I think oftentimes, which is one of the phases of body grief, there's 7 phases, which I've studied through many case studies and storytelling, is that one of the phases is dismissal. We dismiss everything. It's internal dismissal due to systems of oppression, due to internalized ableism, all of the things in the world. And so we are grieving. our bodies. We are grieving what we used to be able to do. One thing I used to shout from the rooftops at my events with eating disorder recovery before I was disabled was, love your body for what it can do, not for what it looks like. And then my body stopped doing. And I was like, well, what now? And so I realized how ableist that was and the grief behind that and the heaviness behind that. And so that's truly the most simplistic definition we can give.
I love that. But I'm assuming it comes in and out of your life as well as your body changes. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but I associate it to like coming in and out of your life, and then you kind of readjust and master that. And then something else could happen and you're kind of in and out like an ebb and flow.
Absolutely. It's a constant journey. It's multilinear. It's nonlinear, multi-cyclical. And we can be at one phase of body grief at a time. We have dismissal, apology, shock, fault, fight, hope slash hopelessness, and then trust. And it's not like we just end at body trust and we're grieved. That's the thing, is when I was writing this book, and I pitched it to my publisher, Penguin, I was like, this is not a Band-Aid. And I know people want that, right? But it's not. We don't just become grieved. We are like healed from this. It's constant. And we have so many body grievances that we can be grieving multiple things at multitudes of times and have one foot in one phase and another foot in another phase. And so the framework and the book is about really normalizing that, giving language to it, giving coping skills, giving real life stories to it of all facets of life, and bringing humanness to saying, like, this is body grief. Kubler-Ross's stages of grief were made for the dying, and we often like look at those stages of grief for the living. But this is for the living with a slowly dying body.
Mm. And I feel like also as disabled people, trust in navigating our bodies sometimes feels daunting. But when you
Oh,
achieve even a small amount of it in some way, it's super powerful. So I love
mhm.
that that last section is trust. That's like very foundationally empowering. That's really awesome.
Absolutely. And I think it's a two-way street, right? In order for us to trust our body has to trust us. And I talk about this thing called perceived body betrayal. And we say, oh, my body's betraying me. But really, if we look into it, our bodies are never betraying us. They're doing everything it can to find a homeostasis. And the symptoms of that, that's what sucks. And so it's our responsibility as humans to grieve, feel the feelings, use the coping skills, but still be compassionate towards our bodies. And that's usually where we slip up.
So that brings me to a quote on your Instagram that I have in front of me. It's a quote that is on body grief and perceived body betrayal. I'm sorry your body is causing you so much pain when all it wants to do is keep you alive. And I sometimes check myself like on a birthday or something, like when it is my birthday, like I grew up with my dad going, you made it another year. You weren't, your body's working.
Oh,
It's
yes.
working for you. It might not look the way that is typical, but it's strong and it's healthy and it's adapting and it's figuring the stuff out. And like that path. So I love that quote because it
Mhm.
speaks to me about the layers of your body just wanting to like support you and keep you alive. It's beautiful. So, can you share a specific moment, maybe challenge or a story that was in your life that you've had to either overcome or feel like power in your own body grief?
The first one that comes to mind is my wedding day. It was actually right when the vaccine came out, and I had just received, I think it was like my 12th surgery. It was a big fusion surgery at my cranium. It was a big surgery. And everyone was, in lockdown for so long. And then I kind of felt like I was grieving. This is going to sound messed up to some people, but I'm just going to say it. I felt like I was grieving the fact as the world opened up, I was grieving the fact that not everyone was going to be living the same life that I do all the time because I was disabled and I didn't have proper mobility aids at the time. I lived on the third floor apartment, and because of medical bills and all of the things and systems of oppression, which I talk about going hand in hand with body grief, it wasn't an envy thing, but it was like, I'm sad because I felt the biggest sense of community in the most messed up way with the pandemic. And then all of a sudden the world started opening up And we left disabled people behind, including with a lot of things. And so when I started and I got married, it was like I was like debuting my disabled body in like a visual way to people that didn't understand disability, to my family, to my friends. And I remember thinking so much like internalized ableism and shame, being like, I'm not even 30. And what am I doing? You know, how I have a walker. My 9-year-old grandparents like have more mobility than I do at my wedding. I was just grieving with so much internalized ableism. And then I realized having my rollator helped me actually have pride and actually move me forward in life. And that's when it like truly clicked for me that body grief was an experience for me as well, and not just for everyone else, because I'm not superhuman. But I felt like I very much was being left out of the conversation. And then finally I got my mobility aid and I was like, okay, I can do this.
I don't think that's a bad thing to say at all. And I think it's actually pretty profound. And I love it that you translated your mobility device into something that's going to allow you to push forward into all of this advocacy work that you're doing, which is incredible. So, can we shift a little bit?
Absolutely.
Can we talk denim?
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about this. So, Sierra Rogers is just an amazing business owner, author. She just came out with the book, The Outsider Advantage. We have the same publisher, Penguin Random House. And that's how I got in touch with her. And also, like, she talks about being an outsider and how it lifted her up, and she came from home insecurity, etc. And now she's so successful with her brand Babes. But now she also has No Back Gap, which is a denim line that, you know, that gap, a lot of people, if they like have curves, they have a gap in the back that like and it doesn't fit a woman's body. Right. So she got rid of that. She fixed it. And these are upcycled, hand tailored, pre-washed, beautiful jeans and denim and shorts. And I was like, wait, so the back part's like really stretchy, but you can't see. And I was like, that's like the curb cut effect, but without her realizing it. Like that's helpful for disabled people. As a wheelchair user, I hate jeans, but I always want to wear rigid jeans because it looks cool. And so I mentioned it to her and she was like, oh my gosh, let's make it more adaptive. And first of all, to be seen by someone like that with such a huge platform and for her to be like, let's just do this was so exciting. So now we have this adaptive jean and we're really gearing this towards people with non-apparent and apparent illnesses and disabilities, people with autism or might experience sensory issues, as well as endometriosis and bloating, to also dexterity issues and anyone with amputations, etc. So there's an anchor for your hand, and then there's clasps that have 3 different attachments so you can adjust your waist. And it looks like the exact same jean, but here's the catch. This jean is made for everybody. It's at the forefront of No Back Gap, and it's helpful for disabled people. So that's why the curb cut effect is so helpful, right? Where it's like, if we consider disabled people first, we make the world better for everyone. And so what I love about this jean is even if you're non-disabled, even if you think, I don't need these jeans are going to benefit you, because if you had a big meal, you can go and adjust your jeans. Or if you break your finger, you're going to need that anchor. And so a lot of other clothing lines have adaptive clothing in like a little corner section of their website. This is at the front and center of No Back Gap, and everyone can buy the jean, but it's an adaptive jean.
So I love, number one, that there's options, because I love wearing jeans too, and it's really hard to find the right fit that closes correctly on my waist, and it drives me nuts. So that's amazing. I can't wait to check this out.
So exciting.
You mentioned the curb cut effect. Can you just explain that a little bit more for anyone that doesn't understand what that term means?
Yeah, so the curb cut effect, think about a curb cut when you're going on a sidewalk and there's that cut usually made for wheelchairs. So it doesn't have, a border if it's an accessible sidewalk. And the curb cut effect is basically saying, when we consider people, disabled people and people of color first, in architecture, in fashion, in culture, the world is better because of that. And so an example is with the curb cut. If you're with a stroller, if you're rollerblading, if you are having a bad day and you're not looking down, the curb cut is going to help you. If you are aging, all of these things, it's not just for disabled people. So I think the curb cut effect is so helpful for non-disabled people to understand, because it's like, when I talked about inaccessibility here in Charleston, South Carolina, people are like, well, you're just one wheelchair user. We're not going to have a bunch of wheelchair users. And I'm like, well, maybe you would if you built for us. And that's the curb cut effect.
Thank you for explaining that, because I think the curb cut effect, the theory, gives a really good visual of how innovative accessibility is. And I don't think that if you don't have a disability and you're not in the space, you might not be seen through that lens. So I think it's important. And the jeans, remind us one more time what the website is for the jeans.
nobackgap.com. And again, they are tailored, Black-owned business, now, collaborating with me as a disabled person. And they're upcycled jeans, like Levi's rigid jeans. Like, disabled people can be sexy. We don't have to wear like these adaptive clothing that's all stretch or all, like, we wanted something that looked like everything else. We didn't want separate but equal.
That's the next like really needed piece of adaptive wear, is making it sexy. Like, I have worked specifically with underwear brands that are globally recognized, and I've done some consulting with them on like bras and pants. And I'm like, we need lines that are hot, that sexy, that when I put this on, I don't look like anything but. And it's hard not having products that you put on, you go, wow, I look really, really good, and I look hot, like I look sexy, and this was made for me. So okay, should we shift to politics?
Yeah, let's do it. Perfect segue.
I love it. Panties to politics. Okay, so you co-founded an Instagram page movement that is titled Disabled Voters for Harris.
Yes.
Talk about it.
So we've seen all these Zoom calls, right? We've seen Win with Black Women, who is led by Joteka Edie. And we've seen then the White Women's Call with Shannon Watts. And we've seen the White Dudes Call and all of these things. And so I was heading to a disability pride event where I was speaking, and I just put it out on Instagram. And then Cassidy Huff, who I know is going to be on this podcast soon, she reached out and she was like, let me help. And so we pushed it out. And then the next morning we were connected with an amazing account, Ought to Ask Us. And they had also had the exact same idea for autistic individuals and people with neurodivergence and disabilities. So we have come together, and Leslie Templeton, who is an amazing person who works in politics and disability in DC, she has helped us so much. And since then, we have an amazing planning committee. Dr. Akila, we have from Change Cadet, we have Mia Ives Rubley, we have so many people, and we are creating our first big Zoom call on Friday, August 2nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but there will be many others. And this includes 2 panels and we're talking about voter rights and disability voter rights and mobilizing disability voters. And the thing that's so cool about this is the Harris administration, like, they're listening to these Zoom calls and she's informing her policy based off of this. And so I spoke with someone on her campaign, and they were like, we see disabled people. We want you to keep speaking. And now we are at the same, like, I was at a meeting last night with Joteka Edie and all of the amazing faces of all of these Zooms, and we have a seat at the table for the first time in a long time.
That's amazing that they see you already too, and that this is going to trickle in there.
We're talking about filling in bubbles. We're talking about all of the things. We have a chat, we have a moderator, we'll have ASL and CART services as well. So everyone is welcome. And if they pre-register, I'll make sure you have the link for all of our other Zoom calls.
Awesome. I love it. We are going to definitely leave all that information in the show notes. And I think this is really powerful advocacy. It's been, for me and my platform, my goal to kind of get involved in legislation. And I was recently appointed a seat in the California Diversity Insurance Committee. They've never had a disabled person in a seat ever. And even entering that room, you feel the power and the need of our voices to be involved in politics, policy, all of it. So congratulations on being really forward thinking.
Yes, you as well. I mean, I think that's the power of disabled people, right? Our voting block is so powerful. And so the difference between the Zoom call and the other ones is like we are going to be really focusing on education and community, where the other Zoom calls are focusing on fundraising, but we also want to prove that we can fundraise. And so for those disabled folks who have the financial power, show up and do it.
Yeah.
And we want to show that we're a powerful voting block.
Inclusion in just like showing up in the numbers and the masses that actually represent our community. So that's really cool. So I'm going to put you on the spot. So we end the show every time with a pushing forward moment from our guests. So
Okay.
this is a little mantra, a little nugget of something that you can gift away to our community to empower them and in their space.
Yes. Honestly, when it comes to body grief, we all have it. I see you in your body grief. I hear you. No matter where you are, if you're fighting it, if you're angry, if you're mad, if you're sad, if you're hopeful or in that like despair of hopelessness and you feel like you just can't get out, we are here. Other people are here. We see you. You are not alone. Just stay here. Find your anchor, whether that's your cup of coffee in the morning or your pet or your cat or just looking out the window. And you will get through this because the world needs you.
You are an amazing woman. We're going to leave all your information in our show notes so everybody can find you. And thank you to our Pushing Forward community for showing up every week for us. I see you. We're growing like crazy. I appreciate you. This has been Pushing Forward with Alycia, and that is literally how we roll on this podcast. We'll see you next time.